Well guys, today is a miserably cold and rainy and gray, overcast sort of day. So it seems like the perfect day to stay inside and do some inside boat work projects. Earlier we installed our Keco cooler in an old cooler that we got from Walmart or something, and it's worked great for the past couple of weeks, but it's kind of small and it's a little bit inefficient because it doesn't have very thick insulation. So while we were in San Juan, we bought the insulation and some PVC board and some spray foam and stuff we needed to build a bigger ice box. And today I'm gonna start tackling that project. We were gonna build it into our old ice box down in there, but the inside is too small to add enough insulation around it, and it'd be a pain in the butt to get everything inside this little door without taking the whole countertop off. So instead, we're gonna build it into where I'm sitting right now, which is on our countertop where the stove goes. Seems like a perfect spot to build an ice box underneath it. So yes, we do have a giant propane tank on our boat, but we think that's a little bit safer to have it inside where we can turn it on and off every time we use it than to keep it outside but keep it on all the time. Right now it's kind of temporary, but hopefully we'll have a proper container for it eventually. But for now it works because it's never going to leak because we turn it on and off every time we use it. That seems to be the solution that works for us. We chose to work with PVC board and polystyrene foam because they are both easy to cut and shape. These little white fluffies are going to get everywhere, all over our boat today. Once the foam was in place, it was time to glue the PVC panels together to create the inner walls of the icebox. A little conduit cement held the pieces in place until I could add fiberglass reinforcement to the outside corners. Well, the trickiest part about building an icebox is figuring out the lid. So I started by making like the lid, like I guess the male side of it, the closing part first, and now I'm using that as a mold to kind of frame out, I guess the female side, the part that's on the cooler where the lid's going to close into. I'm using a little bit of hot glue to kind of tack everything in place until I can actually glue it into the styrofoam, and then everything will be all sealed up and solid. But so far it's working pretty well. So to finish the edge and to make sure that the cooler lid seals itself nicely, I'm using some of this foam window seal. It's like a closed cell foam. It's kind of nice and gooey. I'm going to have a layer of this on the cooler lid and then a layer on the lid that closes too. So it should seal it really, really well when it's done. Keco, you want to see a magic trick?
Yes.
Ta-da! So that was just kind of a test to make sure and to get this top part of the door aligned with the bottom part of the door. So I put some double-sided tape on there and closed it. And now everything aligns perfectly. Pretty nice actually. She's working out pretty well. While the epoxy was curing and the paint was drying, all that was left to do was move the Keco cooler from the old box to the new one. We decided to run the drain line to our bilge drain rather than the sink to eliminate the trickling water sound from echoing back up the sink drain. I also plumbed everything below the water line to ensure the pump wouldn't lose suction when healed over. After the plumbing was done, it was time to install the actual cold plate in the new icebox. Getting ready to reinstall our Keco cooler in our new icebox now that it's done. But before I do, I want to just show you guys the components that it's made up of. This is kind of like the heart of the thing. It's got a fan and a cooling plate and then a Peltier device back here. You just wire it up. It comes with pretty good directions. And then this is where the salt water comes in and out. Doesn't really matter which one you hook up to what. Pretty straightforward. You just have to cut a hole about this size in the back of the icebox. And then this is the control box. This is like the brain of it. Also pretty straightforward, just has an on-off switch and then this burst switch, which goes into like boost mode, I guess, where it draws a lot more power but it sucks a lot more heat out a lot faster. So if you just load the fridge full of a whole bunch of groceries, hold and press that and it'll turn into burst mode. It only runs for maybe a minute or two and then it goes back to cycling normal mode. So yeah, you just wire all these wires into the back of this thing, and that's all the wiring you need to do. I won't get into the details, the instructions are pretty good. And then this is the little water pump that sucks seawater through the back of the cooling plate. It's pretty quiet. We're going to remount it onto like a rubber pad to help make it even more quiet, but as is, as long as the through hull's not clogged and it doesn't have to like suck really hard, it's really quiet. We're also going to have a water filter between the raw water strainer and the pump. Hopefully it'll help keep some crud out of the pump and maybe keep it lasting a bit longer. I'm not sure if it's necessary, but we're going to do it anyway. And that's it. Now I just have to re-plumb all that stuff back in the new icebox. Alright, everything is reinstalled and now it's just time to test it and make sure everything works before we button everything up and seal it all up and finalize the installation. Our green light here means normal mode. That's just to show that the power's on. This blue light shows if the condenser gets below 0 and shuts off. This red light shows if it gets too hot, like it's not getting water, which it might because I'm not sure I have the water turned on. And this button's burst mode. Test to make sure we're getting water. Yep, getting water. Open up this one. Water's coming through here. See like the little jump flowing through there. We also reinstalled the raw water filter down here in the bilge so that everything's below the water line. One of the problems we had sailing from Fajardo to here was that when we heeled over too far, the pipes and the pump and all this was above the water line, and then since that's not a self-priming pump, it means that it lost pressure and then our fridge overheated. So now everything's below the water line, so hopefully when we're sailing and we're heeled over really far, all of this stuff will still have water running through it and the fridge can continue to run while we're sailing. So the pump comes with little rubber brackets that go on the side and a adhesive foam back so you can stick it to something. And that was fine as long as the through hole wasn't clogged and the pump didn't have to like suck really hard. So when we just reinstalled it, I added a little rubber backing plate to the whole thing to try to minimize the vibration and sound even more. And I think it actually helped quite a bit. I can't even hear the pump running. I can hear the water and the wind, and the pump's not making any noise at all. So I think adding a little bit more rubber might help, unless you bury the pump somewhere deep in the bilge where you can't even hear it. It's not loud, it's just we're really sensitive to sound on our boat, so the less sound the better. Yeah, that's getting cold. Definitely. Cool. Looks like everything is back to working again. So now I just have to seal up the top of this with some more expanding foam and screw everything down, and then we'll have an icebox back.
So we've been using our new icebox for about a week now, and so far it works like a charm.
So the cooler on normal mode draws 38 watts according to our charge controller. And that's on normal mode. When you hit the burst button, it draws a little bit more. It draws 140 watts, but that's only for a couple of minutes, and it just sucks a lot more heat out a lot more quickly.
The icebox that we built is right at 70 liters, and that's the largest size that they recommend for their system. But if you have a larger icebox, you can always add another cooling plate.
Yeah, they actually sell an additional cooling plate, so you can plumb 2 of them in series for a larger icebox, and it will obviously draw more power, but it will also cool a larger space. Our icebox has 4 inches of insulation on the sides and the bottom, and then it has 2 inches of insulation on the top. That seems to work a lot better than the old like Walmart cooler that we had, where it would sweat and condensate on the outside because it didn't have a thick enough layer of insulation.
One aspect that I do love about our icebox though is how silent it is, and I'm very sensitive to noise. It's weird because it's weird that I'm on a sailboat and I'm super sensitive. Before we used to have the drain going right under the sink, and it wasn't loud, but you could hear it anywhere on the boat.
It had like a water trickling sort of sound, kind of echoing up to the sink drain the whole time.
But now that the drain is in a carpet locker, you barely hear it, and the fan is so quiet.
Yeah, I think the rubber pad that we added to the back of the pump made it pretty much silent.
Yeah.
And the fan on the cooling plate is silent when you close the lid, and we can't hear the water running through the drain anymore. So the whole thing, I mean, there's so many other noises on a boat that you can't hear.
You don't notice it at all.
When I was building the actual icebox, the PVC box, I slanted the floor a little bit to help water collect on one edge. We still need to add a drain hole that goes down to our bilge because it does create quite a bit of condensation when it's running. I'd say after maybe a week or so, there's probably a cup of water in the bottom. Right now we just have a rag in there that absorbs it, and then we wring it out once a week. It's not a ton, but it's enough that like it'd be nice if it drained out into the bilge. We could pump it out later so that things sitting on the bottom of the icebox don't get wet.
Now for the big question: how cold does our icebox get?
Cold.
It gets really cold. We emptied our icebox and added new groceries yesterday, And we woke up this morning and it was already at 4 degrees Celsius.
So here in the Caribbean, the water is right at about 27 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And the manufacturer says it'll bring seawater down 25 degrees Celsius. And so that's pretty close. If the seawater is 27 and our fridge is at 4 degrees, that's 23. So that's pretty close. So it's right on spec with what they say it'll do.
The company Keco Cooler is from Italy and it's now for sale for those of you who are interested. You can buy it on Amazon and it does ship internationally. So no matter where you are in the world, it will get to you.
And the link for that's going to be in the
description below. We'll also add all the specs and information, like important information in the description if you're interested.
So take a look at that.
Yeah. And of course, we love sharing our adventures and projects with you. So make sure you share some love by liking our video and let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you can follow our journey along. Down in this corner or this corner or up here. I don't really know where it is in the video.
This
but
corner. Little red button.
And that's all we have to say today.
That's all for now, folks.
I guess we'll see you in our next step and we need more tea. So until then,
cheers.